from there, I was just outside a lot. So just been very active. I didn't know anything different. I just knew to like, I don't know, have fun. I went outside or like went back into the forest and like we build forts and like run around and do a bunch of stuff. And then just from an early age, I was just very active in t-ball and like the stuff that you can do when you're a little kid. And then in middle school, doing volleyball and track, basketball, all that fun stuff. But in 8th grade, I tore my ACL. So that was the first of 5 knee surgeries or injuries that I have had. And that really kind of started my kind of like curiosity of the human body. And then in high school, when I injured my knee again, I really got to understand like rehab and rehabilitating the body. Not prehab just yet, but understanding rehab. And that led me to be like, oh, I want to go to school to be a PT. I love helping people. I knew that I loved helping people, but I didn't know quite yet what that help was. And I thought PT was it. So I went to Kirkwood and I enrolled in the PT program, and my biology teacher scared the living shit out of our class. And 50% of us changed our major to liberal arts after that. I'm not going to lie. It was kind of crazy.
Oh my
Yeah.
gosh.
And so from there, I just took like liberal arts. I took some psychology classes. I took some psych classes. And it was very interesting to understand kind of like the human brain and like how people work. Like one of my assignments was to go to the mall and people watch, just kind of like how people exist. And from there, Kirkwood, I went to UNI and I got into the movement and exercise science program. And even when I was at Kirkwood, I partied my face off. I probably drank about every day. And I kind of like just maintained. I really did. I did. It was kind of crazy. And I think I'm really glad. My older self is very glad that that is like not a part of my life anymore. Cause like, no way. Hangovers are not
Yeah.
fun. And, also too, I just realized like how unhealthy I was. Cause I also, for like 6 to 8 months, dealt with some bats of like bulimia because my roommate was doing it. And I was like, oh, I can just drink a bunch of like beer, smash a pizza, puke it up, and then perfect. And it was just a wild ride
Mm-hmm.
with that of like my body dysmorphia and my relationship with my body. Even though I worked out and I would get my friends to work out with me, we would go to the rec center, play basketball, still like active. It was just kind of like completely balancing out my party lifestyle. At UNI, I got a little bit more serious because of the weight room and the rec center where I had majority of my classes. And then I would go into the weight room, and it was kind of intimidating because I was one of the few girls at the time, because this was like about 2009, that was in the weight room. And I was working at a bar
Yeah.
too, so I was still kind of in that transition of, wanting to like make it a lifestyle change, but not really wanting to let go of the party life. Right. And so through my movement and exercise science program, I just like fell in love with the human body and movement. I hadn't yet gotten into nutrition because we had some classes, but I didn't really understand the importance of nutrition. And so after my movement, or after that BA degree, I worked at Pump House for a year, and I would do like senior citizen, like silver sneaker programs and like some coaching basketball on the side. And then I went back for my kinesiology major, and that's where I got my master's degree in. And that's when I learned more about nutrition. We had a little bit more in-depth nutrition classes, and I started to understand how important nutrition is paired with fitness, and just kind of having like an overall balance or harmony in your life of intake food while having the things that you want to as well. Still kind of like some scare tactics from the diet culture because I didn't really have the knowledge that I do currently. So I would say after I graduated and got a job with Iron Tribe Fitness, did my nutrition take off. So I was now doing more CrossFit type stuff. I was learning about paleo. From there, I didn't take in enough carbs and I wrecked my body. Oh my gosh. Like, you want to talk
Mm.
about like an adrenaline, like, or an whatever, just like a body crash. For 2 weeks,
Yeah.
I don't know, I just felt hungover. It was wild. And so I did some more research and looking into like oh, carbs are actually the fuel for the body and paleo is good, but they're forgetting the aspect of what carbs do, especially if you're a CrossFit athlete. If you are an athlete that you have a very high output and you push yourself all the time, you need carbs. You have to intake carbs. There are a time and a place for fats in like keto, but if you really want to perform, carbs are going to be your fuel source. It's just how the body works. And then from there, and leaving Iron Tribe Fitness, I did precision nutrition certification, where that took my nutrition knowledge to the next level. And I just became so passionate about it. And it was almost to where I understood that that's almost the most important thing over everything else, is what we put into our body. And not to scare people and not to make people feel bad about any choices, because that's what society does. They make us feel bad of being who we are, which is so bullshit, and that's like, I think kind of like my tagline is, it's more of mindset and helping people really understand that it's like how you view the world is how you're going to experience it. And it's hard sometimes, like being an adult is crazy. Wow. It's just sometimes like, can I have a timeout? I need a timeout, but that's not really how it works. So,
right.
I know it's like a long-winded question, but it's been just kind of an array of things of like going through my own experiences, getting knowledge along the way, trial and error, getting new knowledge, also experiences, more time under my belt.
Yeah, no, that was really good. So going back to the part where you were talking about people watching and the mentality aspect, that's one thing I've really noticed around fitness is you can tell someone the science behind something all you want. You can try to convince them all you want, but you're not going to get anywhere unless they buy in and they really want to make a change. How do you see that, like with your clients that you work with? Do you have to convince them of a lot of things, or do they come to you willing to soak things in?
As always, it depends. You get a mix of everything. You get people that are just like ready to get after it, and they do it and then they fall off, and so I try to, when I meet with my clients, tell them like, hey, like, I wish that I could do all the work for you, and through osmosis I put my hands on your shoulders and you absorb all the stuff and you become everything you want to be. But I can't do that, right? But I can facilitate change in your life, and knowing that they have to like put in the work, and then I'll get clients who log really good and we're making good tracks, and then they stop logging, collecting data, something comes up in life. And so I will ask them, questions. And that's another thing, like asking my clients questions of like, how is this going? How is that going? Do you feel comfortable? Do you feel like you're moving in the right direction? I know I'm getting off topic, but I just listened to a podcast with Ben and Braden and James Clear. James Clear is like a huge mentor of mine. I've never met him, but the book Atomic Habits is like my Bible. It is such a good book, how he explains habits and, what habits are. But he also talked about, and I'm getting off track, that, we should not be the same person that we are from day to day. We should be a more like well-rounded human from year to year, and understanding that we are changing and we are evolving and we are collecting new things and going through new experiences, that, sometimes there's points in life where we're going to be really on, and then the points in our life when we're not on, we still need to have like non-negotiables to keep our shit together and not just go up, in the air. So I don't know if that answered your question, because I feel like I got off topic.
That's a common theme, but no, that's so like I was listening to a podcast today with Joe Rogan. I forgot who the guest is, but the guest was basically saying a lot of people get so married to their ideas and they make their ideas into their identity. And that's really not a good path to go down, because true strength lies in the ability to be open to new ideas. Because if you're not, you're never going to reach your full potential or help other people reach their full potential. So don't get married to those ideas.
I really like that. I mean, that's even with me in transitioning from coaching on the gym floor to thinking that my identity would be a full-time nutrition coach and that's all I wanted to do. And I found out that was completely wrong. It was, kind of hard for me to have that realization, but then now understanding that I can have the best of both worlds. I can be on the floor more and getting my cup filled because I know that's where like I kind of recharge and get my energy. And then I can do nutrition
Mm-hmm.
coaching on the side, versus
Yeah.
going all in. And it was a hard pill to swallow because you never want to tell yourself that you're a failure. And I even say that it's never failure, but it's hard when you don't succeed at something that you wanted. But that's reality, knowing that, okay, like, hey, I went after this and maybe I'm not going to get it, but I'm proud of myself for even trying and understanding that I can go after things that are scary, that are the unknown, that I don't know the outcome. It might be something brand
Right.
new. And even too, I can't remember who said this, but just as we get older and become adults, we stop trying new things. Like, when's the last time that you did something new,
Yeah.
right? I played soccer for the first
Something
time.
that scares
It was
you.
very nerve-wracking because I was on my friend's team and they just like are buttholes and like make fun of like me no matter what, right? So I'm like, oh, here's something else. But it was really fun. I played 5 games. The first time I was so
Yeah.
confused. People were yelling at me, like not yelling at me, but just like all this like soccer lingo. And I was like, I have no clue what you're saying. Like, no clue. But I was back
Like
by the
another
goalie on
language.
the right side. So whatever position that is, that's where they put me. And I felt very comfortable playing lots of
Yeah.
defense. There's a couple times that I got into offense and it was very scary. But yeah, so
Scary for you or scary for them?
oh me. I looked like a noob. And if
I thought
somebody
you were
didn't
gonna
think I was a noob,
plow someone
then
over.
I was being like a very good like camouflage of faking it till you make it type thing.
Heck yeah.
Joe Rogan though, that's a really good podcast. I'll have to snoop, figure out, is it a newer one?
Yeah, it's a newer one. It's actually with um he wrote a book about mind parasites. So you're gonna be all over that one, I think,
Okay.
Shelby. Um it's like kind of mental parasites exist almost like physical parasites exist. Um I don't want to go too in
You're
detail
good.
with that, and you can listen to it as you want. But yeah, there's a few people that watch that show, the Joe Rogan show, just a
One or
few.
two. So, Shelby, how much is so when you had to kind of make that decision to go, coach on the floor too, and then do a nutrition coaching on the side, that's got to help though, the nutrition coaching side though, as well, just to kind of give you some almost like warm leads or another way to help the people you're physically coaching with CrossFit or on the gym floor to help their nutritional side too.
Yes, absolutely. I don't know when you like started recording, but before we were talking about like that you two were going into marketing and you wanted to help with like the backside of that marketing and website. And I remember building my website and I blacked out for 7 hours and I created something. It was kind of wild. And I mean, it was clear that I had no clue what I was doing, but it didn't look bad. And also just like marketing,
Right.
I mean, you can call me lazy, but I just don't want to put my time into that. I would rather connect and be in front of people and doing that. So it's been really helpful for my nutrition, because people are like, will say to me at the new gym I'm coaching at 1031, like, oh, you do nutrition? I'm like, yeah. And they're like, are you taking clients? And I'm like, currently I am. So it's nice to have that kind of building that trust and relationship with people and knowing that like I can offer not only coaching to them but nutrition coaching as well. So it's been way less stressful. I feel like life is just hitting different. Doesn't mean that life is any easier, but knowing that I can now have the best of both worlds and also just like learning from that life lesson that um I've tried to leave coaching a gym like setting, and I always come back to it because that's also like a purpose of mine. That's why I'm here to do what I'm supposed to do in coaching group classes. Then still kind of navigating to nutrition and like, maybe hosting like more nutrition seminars where I can bring a group of people in, which I'm good at, and like just kind of talking about a said topic. So
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and I like how you said that being on the floor is like filling up your cup. And that's kind of like the difference between an introvert and an extrovert is I feel like you're more of an extroverted person.
I
And
have some hints of introversion,
'cause-
like being an introvert where I'm just like, I need a break from people today. But yeah, like
right,
maybe
yeah,
like a 85-15.
right. Yeah, there's a continuum in everyone, I think, with that. I'm definitely more towards the introverted, but every now and then I'll get a little extroverted. So, do you mind if we start to dive into your
No.
business? Because that's kind of what we love. So, let's say if you were to just dream up, like, ideal scenario, like your end goal, what is your big goal as a coach or even not as a coach? Like, where do you want to get to in the next 5, 10 years?
Yeah, so a good friend of mine, Joe Moore, I met him when I was coaching in New Orleans. We've always thrown the idea back and forth, of, like coming up with some coaching curriculum, and giving a
Mm-hmm.
course for coaches because they are so neglected. And also, helping them understand the business side of things because that's one thing is like a lot of people don't understand how kind of shitty it is to be a coach when it comes to like pay and benefits, right? Because some gyms don't have insurance and they
Yeah.
pay by hour or you're this or you're that. There's no real consistency, right? And sometimes if you're 1099, like I'm just learning too, like how to write things off and all of that. So, having a course that we created from start to finish that has and encompasses everything on the floor coaching, aspects of a good coach, aspects of coaching like above and beyond, having some type of nutrition, just like baseline, um, how you want to coach, are you more of a stretcher, blah, blah, blah. That's something that I would like to do in the next 10 years. With my business, I really go back and forth on it. Like, I think would I love to have a team of people on my nutrition business? Absolutely. But I don't know if I want to have it for my business. More of like in that podcast that I mentioned earlier with James Clear and Ben Bergeron. James Clear every year gets a group of people together and they have kind of like this mastermind thing or on Zoom. I think that would be fun. I love to bring people together.
Yeah.
I love to get people's perspective. I love to ask questions because asking questions it's where it's at. You need to ask questions more or ask questions more because that's where the answers lie, or they facilitate a thought process that you might eventually get the answer to, the question or that missing piece of the puzzle.
Right. So it kind of sounds like you really would want to be a coach for other coaches. Does that sound
Yeah,
right?
I still want to coach on the floor
Or do
because
you?
I mean that's something that's so
Okay.
passionate with
Fill your
me,
cup.
and I love coaching
Right.
in the nice way possible. To say this, the average Joe, just like the average person who maybe wants to get lean or perform in the gym, but they're not like going anywhere like at a pro level, right? They just have goals for themselves. Because I feel like sometimes they get pushed to the wayside and feel like, that person who is like adjusting or scaling the workout, I want them to feel just as important as a person who is like been there for so long and they can do like the RX plus type stuff. I feel like that's where kind
Right.
of like my specialty lies in helping people in a group setting feel like they're not like they're the only one in class, but they feel important. Like what they're doing is very important.
Yeah.
But and with my
So
and
like,
like with my nutrition business, I haven't really thought about honestly the future to be truthful of like what I want to encompass. I'm still kind of, playing it by ear, like, okay, how is this falling into my life? Understanding that I like to coach on the floor more, how many clients can I take on at one time, with me having them meet with me every other week and not trying to fill
right.
my plate too full because I know I get overwhelmed. Like money is really great, but
Yeah.
I would rather just live very comfortably and not run myself ragged. Could I always do more? Could I, invest more and stuff like that? Absolutely. But I haven't really answered your question because I haven't really thought of that. But there's just like some ideas out there, like of that 10-year, like you said, being a coach of coaches. And then
Right.
my podcast too. So I have a Serenity Strong podcast. Just kind of easy to have my coaching name because then if anybody Googles it, it's just an easy way to find all the stuff. And I go back and forth on that because I'll have people that tell me they like my podcast, but when I go to do it, it's like I'm my own worst enemy. I'm like, oh, people aren't gonna want to listen to like you just talk about random shit or whatever comes to your mind. But then, like a week later, somebody will be like, hey, I listened to this podcast, and I'm like, I haven't even talked about my podcast. Like, it's just kind of random found it.
Yeah.
So I would say with the future of my podcast is to, get my glutes back in gear and releasing a podcast once a week and getting, more guests on, and not even guests that are like, people that are well known, just people who have a story and have, some way that they can inspire somebody with whatever they're
Mm-hmm.
going through or what they have to share.
Yeah, I mean, it's
Right.
nice to obviously have sometimes people who are well known, but I think a lot of the times people who have a story, people can connect with them a lot more often, or just because you feel like it's not to like, put it in a general thing, but people who have a story are maybe more like the average Joe versus the person that's super well known that people, it's harder to relate to. People at least think so. So like for a lot of the people who aren't as well known, it's can be very helpful for listeners just to, relate to and whatnot.
I was just gonna ask, like, how many clients do you currently have, and are they all mainly nutrition or fitness too, or how's
Yeah,
the split?
so I have had a total of 20 clients since opening up my business. Currently, I have 10. And they are truly all in different spots. I use this app called Chronometer to track their intake because on the back end of for my like coaching, I can see all my clients under one roof, and I can see their food log, and I can like give them notes and feedback in there. I can set habits, so that's really good. But right now I have 10 clients, and some of them are, working on their maintenance calories. Some of them are now getting into a cut. It really just depends on how ready they are to take on like the seriousness of a cut, or are they even, logging their food? So that a goal of theirs might be collecting data. Um, but
Mm-hmm.
the on-ramp process is, I meet with them, we have an initial call, I ask all the questions, I have them fill out a pretty in-depth questionnaire so that I can understand them as much as I can. Since it is online, I'm losing that like personal interaction with them. And then from there, we have a Google
Yeah.
folder that I put information that I have collected over the years. So recipes, PDFs, cookbooks, snack ideas, stuff about fitness. What else is there? Some books that I've collected just to help them have all the information that they can to be successful. Or like when I go grocery shopping and I'll take pictures of items, I have a folder that I put,
Yeah.
stuff in there. So it's very like informational. Always turnover. Sometimes I've had to tell a couple clients that this isn't a good fit, and that we need to part ways because I just don't want to waste anybody's time either. If I feel like,
Yeah.
we're not in contact like we should, or they're not collecting data or tracking in some way, I can't help them as much as I want to. So, I'm just like, hey, maybe we pause for a little bit and you come back when you have like better timing or more time to do so. I want to help everybody through everything,
Yeah.
but sometimes, like we were saying earlier, is like you want people to change, but people are only going to change if they really want to change, like to put in the work too.
Oh yeah. Exactly. Yep. It's got to be a good fit both ways. And Ben and I are kind of learning and talking a lot about that right now. Even in what we're doing with brand strategy, is we're not just going to we're not a hammer and every client is not a nail. Like, we're not going to try to just make every project into a brand strategy project if it's unnecessary and if they don't want it.
Yeah.
So,
and I think that's like, as you like just, I don't know, level up in life and become older, more seasoned, it's something that you really understand is like, you want, if you're a helper too, like you want to help everybody, but the reality is that you can't. But what you can do, and like what I'm trying to do is like, I am trying to cultivate like an experience with me that, you know, is impactful to that human, that I leave that person like better than when we met. You know, am I always successful? So I have my days where I'm just like, no. But, you know, I do my best.
Yep.
And the person that I learned that from was my grandma. You know, my grandma raised me. And so I had firsthand the experience from her. And I was just blessed that she was my grandma. She was like one of the coolest humans. She showed everybody compassion and kindness. And she taught like 4 generations of families, and everybody knew her. And she was like the town grandma. And she just showed me unconditional love. And I think that's, you know, why I am the person that I am today, is because of my experience with unconditional love at a very early age and through a huge like chunk of my time frame. My grandma will be gone 5 years in November, you know, so I still have her for a very good chunk of my life. So
yeah, that's inspiring. There's usually someone in all of our lives that is inspiring in some way like that.
There's never not, you know, and that's the thing is like, I feel like people forget that everybody can make an impact. You know, your interaction with somebody can make an impact, whether it's, you know, we're at the gym and, you know, we're all lifting and you tell me a cue or I say you a cue. That's still an impact. You know, and it doesn't have to be big or small. You have to understand that you still facilitated something in that human's life. So,
right. Yeah. One thing I've always thought about in the world of fitness and health is everybody has multiple reasons why they need to take care of themselves. And a lot of people just haven't had a compelling enough reason really come to the surface yet. Like, for example, a father who doesn't take care of himself at all, he doesn't really feel the impact it could have on his family until he has like a severe heart attack or something. And that might be what it takes to whip him into shape.
And it breaks my heart when you say that, because I hate that we have people that are more reactive instead of proactive. You know, like that's another thing. Like I don't have anybody sign a contract, but I've thought about, you know, having some type of agreements and, you know, just stating in there, like, working with me, I cannot guarantee that nothing bad will happen in life and that you will never experience some type of medical issue. I can't guarantee that. I have no clue. But what I can guarantee is that you will build a better vessel that can fight against whatever is attacking your body. You know, and I feel like we just forget, like we get complacent in the fact of consistency and things that are kind of like right there. Or if we do get sick, we have a way to medicate. You know, we don't, as like a unit, majority, we don't want to be very proactive, because whatever we're doing, you know, we can just get by. Even if our sleep is shit, or, you know, we're really stressed out, or workouts suck all the time. You know, we don't really see those things as feedback. You know, we've forgotten to listen to our body.
Yeah.
All that.
Right.
All that nerdy shit.
I'm telling Ben he can unmute and mute as needed. I'm giving you permission to speak, Ben.
Thanks, buddy.
So, no, I was gonna start asking about like the pay that you get. How sufficient is it for your needs from your clients? And then I know you also coach at Wrath.
Yeah.
So what are the goals in terms of pay?
So normal like hourly pay is $15 an hour. right? But what I feel like people forget is like I could have a class of 1. I could also have a class of 20. I like never know how many human bodies I'm getting in a class, right? Depending
Yeah.
on what gym that you're at, like you will start to have the same people that come to that same time frame. And then with my nutrition coaching, I could probably charge more, but I charge $50 a month if you want to meet with me one time, $100 a month if you want to meet with me twice. And I have it at that lower price point for people who are serious, but maybe don't have the means to pay for that higher level. Also, I don't have all those fancy apps. I don't have a team of people. It's just me that I'm going to be faulty and I might be neglecting one thing or another. So I want to make that lasting impact on people and I want to help them, but I'm also human. So, I mean, I'm working
Right.
on building my income, but COVID's been kind of crazy, with like just gym shutdowns and stuff like that. And then trying to find a different income and then moving to Quad Cities. And then, just that freak accident, what happened with Raph. I mean, I'm resilient as fuck. And I always find a way. I don't know. Sometimes like, I just don't understand sometimes how I make it, but I do. And I just always say thank you to the universe. And also why I just really believe in karma, because she can be good or she can be not good. I've done it both ways. So I just try to do like more good also because karma can be very like thoughtful sometimes. The universe like does give back as much as like, I know that sounds hippie. I really believe in it because I have also experienced that, like putting stuff out there and manifesting things, trying new things. And all of a sudden, like something just happens and there's no real answer or legitimate reason why that happened, but it did.
What does the average nutritional coach charge a month?
It depends. I've seen anywhere from $45 a month to $500 a month, or people who charge, like upward to $1,000 or above for a certain time frame. Which is the thing that's really interesting is, your currency. Your currency is your time, and that's how you get paid. And so it's how do you get somebody to value your time? And, am I underselling myself? Probably. I have no doubt. I could charge at a higher price point, but I've done that and people still give me the same output. So maybe I do charge like $500 a month and somebody's like, fuck, that's a lot of money. I really need to get my shit together. But I've charged $200 a month and I've also charged $50 a month and people still get after it if they want to get after it and they don't want to get after it. So knowing just my lifestyle and kind of that paycheck to paycheck, just unfortunate type thing. And I'm just now learning, this is my 3rd-ish year of investing and saving money and all of that. So it's not that I'm far off from my goal, but I also was my own worst enemy. And when I was in my 20s, I did not understand the power of saving and investing and doing some of that stuff that will help me later on, especially since I don't really have 401k and I don't really get like health insurance or different things. I don't get those kind of aspects that I have to kind of do my own saving and retirement thought process. And also I'm in no rush because I'm probably going to be working till like I'm like 80 years old, which I'm okay. So, I'm 33. I'm not in any rush to like fully lock down and get my shit together. My dad is 67 years old. And on his 65th birthday, I asked him, what's the key to life? And he goes, well, you never know what the fuck you're doing. And I was like, good to know. And he's like, I still don't know what I want to do. Advice. And I'm like, good to know.
Yeah. Every parent or adult I've talked to, my little brother and I will say like, we don't know what to do. We want to be, I want to be entrepreneurial. He's going into college, doesn't know what to do there. And my parents are always like, we don't know what we want to do. We just pick things and we go with it hard and you figure it out.
Yeah, I think we all have different seasons for what we do. And kind of what we strive after, and you just kind of got to do the best you can with each season as it comes, and figure out the next opportunity as it lands in front of you, and just kind of take it up.
Yeah. So Shelby, as far as your nutrition coaching goes, would you rather have the same amount of clients, like 10 clients that pay like $500 a month, or would you rather keep the price point low and have a ton of clients that you can find a way to scale up with? So like maybe you incorporate some of those more hands-off things, or do you like being really hands-on and maybe just charging more?
Well, ideally, I would love to have 10 clients and charge $500 a month, because that's, less time of me delegating to 20 people, that time that I can spend on those 10 people. Right. If I wanted to grow my numbers, I would love to have 30 nutrition clients that is just like an ebb and flow. It's, if they want to be twice a month chatting or once a month, and if I can just fit that 30-minute time call into my day with coaching. And it, like, when I'm on the floor, I coach 3 classes back to back, but I'm technically there almost 4 hours because I get there early, getting there late, closing up, so just being strategic in my time and how I would be able to do that. But in an ideal world, I would have less clients at a higher value, because then I can give them more in-depth time.
Right.
So is that freedom number, like client-wise, ideally 30 clients?
Yes. When I first started crunching numbers, that is my kind of like freedom part. And my biggest goal is to make like 50 grand a year. I've never made that. And I know some people, they're like, if somebody listens to this, they're like, oh, I make this and this. And I'm like, you can giggle at that, but that's my goal, and I've been able to live comfortably on a lower income that I know when I get to that goal, that I won't really need much more than that with like my income of my significant other. I'll be able to pay my bills. I'll be able to do things. I'll be able to save. I mean, is more money better? Absolutely. But for me, it's not like what I'm chasing after. And as I get older, my mindset towards money might change, and I might change my price point, and I might change my business model. Like you just said, Ben, like each year is a different season. It's a different chapter, I could coach more and do more PT on the side that will take me away from nutrition coaching, or I want to dive into nutrition coaching more. I think I like the structure, but also balance, or like structure and freedom in my lifestyle right now. Like I have the structure of coaching classes, but I have the freedom in between those timeframes to truly do whatever I want. Do I want to do PT clients? Do I want to have one-on-one nutrition calls? Do I want to take on more clients? So is it the best business model? No. But like you said earlier, in an ideal world, 10 clients, $500 a month. That would be ideal.
Okay. I just did a little bit of calculating. To make 50,000 in a year divided by 12 years is 4166 every month, divided by 10 clients is 416.
What do you mean by 12 years?
12 years?
12 months.
I believe I meant months.
There you go.
Is that what I said?
Years? Said years. I was like,
divided by 12 years.
I don't know what he's going for, but all right.
Yeah, 12 months. So 416, it's not 500, which, so right now you said you're charging how much a month?
50 they meet with me one time, 100 if they meet with me two. And I think
okay, so you got kind of like a different plan.
I have my price so low is because I don't have my system where I want it. Like it's still evolving. It's trial and error. I'm asking my clients questions like, how is this? Did you like that? Was that even necessary? Was that helpful? To really kind of like have a good product. Cause I think that's what holds me back, is because I don't want to put my name on a product that I don't believe in. That's why I don't have any like sponsors. Every once in a while, I'm not that well known, but every once in a while, like somebody would be like, try this, or, get an email about something or other. And the only partnership I have is with Bamboo Skincare, because it's a very clean product. from start to finish, like manufacturing the bottles, the product, the waste, the packaging.
Mm-hmm.
So
Yeah. So you said you don't think your systems are quite up to par to like a $416 a month charge. What do you think you could improve on with your systems?
mainly myself and my time management. I would say with like my move here, because I moved to the Quad Cities in December, and then all of my plans completely changed in 4 days of moving here. It's just been kind of like survival mode. And also living in Iowa, like the seasonal blues and just kind of like not really having ambitions to get after things. And, just going back to
Mm-hmm.
what Ben said, like an ebb and flow of, trying not to feel defeated in understanding that I went after something that I thought was going to be a job, and I was trying to turn a hobby into a job. Um, and just, I don't know, mainly learning from my mistakes.
Yeah, I mean, that's how we all learn is from our
Yeah.
mistakes.
But I mean, could I get to a place where I have a well-oiled system and I'm waking up at a certain time and this and that? Yes. And I think come August, when I start coaching on Monday, Wednesday, Friday at 6 a.m., that will be my schedule. And I can now finally have a set schedule that will not change for a long time, hopefully, that I can
Mm-hmm.
build upon. But I say this where I get defeated is because I have a schedule and then it changes, and then I have a schedule and then it changes, and that inconsistency kind of messes with me. And that's my own like thing that I'm working on. Sometimes when people look at me, they think I have it
Right.
all figured out, and I'm like, oh no, I fooled you. I'm just confident. I'm just confident in even my fuck upness. And when I mess up, I'm like, hey, you're laughing whether it's at me or with me. Like, sometimes when you're coaching a class, like weird words just you just say weird stuff and you just go with it.
Yeah.
I think that's awesome what you
I
just
know.
said, though, too, because I think so many people, and I used to think this too, is people don't want to get into leadership or coaching because they look at leaders and coaches as they do have it all figured out and they know all the answers. But in reality, leaders and coaches, once you get there, you realize, wow, I have the same problems as the people I'm leading. It's more of I'm just asking the questions that need to be asked. And it's just about discovering how to help either your clients or people, whatever group you're a leader in or whatever it is. It's more about asking just the right questions and all growing together versus everybody thinks the coach knows everything or has it all together. But obviously, definitely not true.
Oh yeah. Like, I mean, each day is different. And also like, you don't know the class size. So you could have an ideal warm up, but then from start, you're just behind. I always counter like 2 like fuckery minutes in that hour of like, maybe somebody's going to show up late or somebody has a random question or out of the blue, somebody's got an ouchie boo boo. And you're just like, what is going on? And sometimes it just runs smoothly. And I feel like also like the time that I did boxing, when you put yourself into a ring, you can't leave the ring. You're not just like, I changed my mind. And with coaching and just everything that I've experienced, like that resilience of just doing what you can with what you have has just put me into the position that I am today.
Yeah.
And also like my trial and error. And like when I was coaching, like I was, trying to coach like my friend because everybody liked his coaching style and it was not good. And he had to tell me, he's like, stop trying to be me and coach like you would. I was like, thank you. I knew that.
Yeah. That's so good because we can all see it in you when you're coaching. Like you're dancing and we're just going hard, like dying, and then we see you dancing and we're like, heck yeah.
I absolutely love that. I think it's awesome.
Well, that's good to know.
So
sometimes like I kind of keep myself entertained. Like I'm watching people, but I could just like watch people or I could watch people.
Yeah.
So
Watch people.
I mean, my mom loves going to your classes. She like absolutely adores you as a coach and everything. She tells me all the time how much she loves you as a
well,
coach.
tell
So
her to come to my classes so I can see her because it's been a while since I've seen
I
you.
know. I
Yeah.
need to get her back going in and stuff. But we'll have to check out one of your classes at 10:31 too.
Come on down. I coach all the noon classes,
Yo.
and then they have 3:45, 4:45, 5:45. You'll like it. You'll like the
Where's
style of their
10:31?
workouts. Austin does a great job. It's a strength piece, it's a cardio piece, and then there's accessory work after.
Nice, yeah. I love that style. So right now, if you do like one meeting a month for $50, 2 meetings a month for $100, you're kind of valuing a meeting at $50. What's your max number of meetings you can do in a month
I would say
where you don't
2.
want to?
I don't think they need more than 2 because I'm still in contact with them via text message. Horrible email.
Yeah.
That is just my clip. That's my like tick. Like I really tell myself we're gonna get better at checking our email, and I never do. So you know what? I don't really have to, unless there's a time that I have to check my email. So I do a lot of texting, and that's why I say there's no more than 2 months because I'm also working with adults. And I just sometimes have to be like a nice bitch type thing and being like, hi, like I could talk to you every day, but you still have to put in the work. So I like the 2 weeks because it gives them time to work on something, and then we can come back and we can talk it out and we can like problem solve. And then it's like 3, 2, 1, break. Okay, 2 weeks, go after it. You know,
So-
so I mean, you have my wheels spinning because I do understand that I have a low price point for the product that I am putting out.
How many clients a month would you realistically want to work with?
That's a good question. And it just depends on like turnover, right? So I always tell my clients I need a 3-month minimum because the first month never fails. Logging the food, chronometer, understanding things, fueling their body correctly, working on breaking some old habits, yada, yada, yada. The first month is just really figuring out the flow. And then month 2 and 3, they hone it in a little bit more. Ideally, I would like a person for a year because I really want to make sure not only do I make a change, but we facilitate a change. And then in that year, we can talk about what their maintenance calories are and then also put them on a cut and then go back to their maintenance calories because you should not be like cutting all the time. So 3-month minimum is where I would have my clients. And then I would say 20 clients a month with my calls because I just don't want to be every day on calls all the time in between coaching my classes. I need a little downtime. I want to do some research. I like to take classes online from my computer because of COVID.
Right.
So I always make sure that yes, I like the income and the money coming in. I still want to make sure that I'm facilitating change and learning and building my brain because that's what people are paying for. So then as I do that, my price point is going to go up, but I would obviously have a limit on it because I also don't want to just like keep charging a higher price point because my knowledge is big. I have like a very kind of relationship with money of like, okay, what is charging too much for my time and what is too little?
Yeah, you don't want to feel like you're gouging people by any means, but you want to feel like this is my worth, my value.
Absolutely. And that's like too. It's just been a weird thing for me. Is like putting a money value on my time. Like I had control of that, and just understanding that I have a very weird relationship with money and, even like a salesperson type thing, it's like, just get him in the door and I'll keep him here. I don't want to deal with it, but I have to, and I have to get over that. And, working on that part of that salesman or saleswoman part of my life.
Yeah, that's one thing that my view of money is more like I view money as a vehicle to, number one, freedom to do whatever you want, whenever you want. And number two, larger scale impact. So if you can be able to scale your business somehow, you could impact X more number of people. So yeah, it's like people always say money's not everything. And I would completely agree. Money won't buy you happiness, but it can buy you time. It can buy you freedom, and it can allow you to outsource more so that you can impact more people.
100%.
And I guess that's just where we're trying to get with the talking about all these pricings with your clients and everything is like, if we could get you to that $50,000 a year point and free up some more of your time and the ability to really focus on those people and impact them, I feel like that would be good for you.
100%. Absolutely. Like, I'm forever going to be like a freelancer. So it's just figuring out, how to every year grow my business. And like, it's hard to think about the big picture when I've never really been a businesswoman until this past year.
Yeah. Kind of threw yourself into the business realm from trying to turn your passion into
the cannonball method, Ron Burgundy style. It works 60% of the time. It works 100% of the time.
Oh yeah. Well, Ben, do you have questions?
I don't think so.
So, Shelby, we got a lot of really good information about your business. We got to know like kind of what your freedom number is. We like to always assign a freedom number to someone, just because even if you love work and you're super passionate about what you do, you still should set some kind of a freedom number, because even if you want to work every day the rest of your life, it's just kind of like the peace of mind knowing that if something were to happen to me, if I were to like enter a coma tomorrow, I'd be okay because I have this business that's self-sustaining. So it sounds like what we got to is you can charge more for your time for sure. And you know that as long as you get the systems in order but you know what those are too. It's
just me actually doing it.
Right.
Isn't that silly? Isn't that like kind of crazy how like I give all this information and advice to people and like I'm the one standing in my way 90% of the time? You're like, well, what do you know? We're here again.
Yeah. It's so funny. It's like, yeah, you telling you can give your clients all this awesome information, but they have to be the ones to do it. Like,
I think I said that on my podcast one time. I'm like, if you guys think that I have all these great ideas, I just want to let you know that sometimes I record these podcasts for myself so I can listen to my own advice because I need it. I'm not saying I have the best advice.
I know, yeah.
But sometimes you're just like, duh. Like, that's what you need to do.
Yeah, I know. It's right there, right in front of you.
I mean, that's powerful, though. It's everyone really struggles with putting themselves in their own way. We're all our greatest barrier. So it's whatever, we set ourselves to and do is how far we can get or what we can accomplish.
I've read a handful of books, but one of the best ones that I've read other than Atomic Habits by James Clear, I think I mentioned that earlier. It's called The 4 Agreements. I can't remember the author, but it's very short and it's more of like your mindset and how you want to view life and trying not to have an identity in these 4 agreements. It's I can't think of them right now, but one of them was like, don't assume anything. And it's so hard to not assume things, with somebody's interaction.
Yeah, don't assume. be like, kind of like stick to your word, be something with
Be
your word.
Impeccable with your word. Yeah, be impeccable with your word.
And then never assume. Gosh dang it, because he actually upped it to 5 recently. Yeah.
I feel really bad like making that book plug and then totally batching the 4 agreements, but it was very impactful to me to help me have a little bit more freedom in my life. Like you talk about financial freedom, but just a little bit more freedom that I am not chained to all these other humans and how they view me.
Right. Yeah, don't put your self-worth in someone else's opinion, because that's
good. Mic drop.
Mic drop. Yeah. If you ever need help though with these systems, or there's like anything we can do, definitely let us know, because we're just trying to we're in the early stages trying to help as many people as we can. And that's one thing we just love, is creating the systems and the strategy for people to really accelerate.
Give me
that's something you're into.
a couple weeks to actually do what I've been telling myself that I should be doing. And then I will present to you what I have. And then you can just give me all the feedback.
Yeah.
No, that sounds great.
We can. Yeah, that'd be great. We can have maybe another one of these, and we can talk about what's worked, what's not worked, like what's been really hard for you. Because it's kind of all about just setting that goal that you want to get to and figuring out what are the barriers that are preventing that from happening.
Yeah, and we can send you, there's like a really cool business model canvas that basically can put your whole business plan on one page, and you can just bullet point everything. So it's really nice just to get that down and understand your value proposition, how you're delivering that, who's your target market, things like that, just all in one piece of paper. And we can kind of go over that too, because that's a great way to
great.
See it.
Everything under one roof. I can't stand when I have to have so many different. No, I want it all together. I don't want 6 apps. I want one.
I agree. 100% agree.
There's so many apps. I don't want another app.
That's why we use ClickUp. We're obsessed with ClickUp. It's their whole thing is an app to replace them all or something. We could show you how it works and everything if you want.
You should come
pretty
to the gym
awesome.
Tomorrow. I will
it could help with your.
Braden's absolutely obsessed with ClickUp. Like, oh my gosh!
I'll send little tutorial videos to Ben and Travis. I'm like, all right, here's how we do this.
It's an everyday thing.
When we get done with this, I will look it up before I coach class at RAF.
Cool. Yeah, you will get on your grind a little bit. We'll come back. We'll talk about what's working, what's not. Sound good?
That sounds cool. Like a plan, Stan.
Whole bunch of stands over here.
Whole bunch of stands. Love it. All right, I will see you guys in the morning at the gym.
Sounds good.
Sweet.
We really appreciate you being
here
today.
This was really fun. I liked just the flow, the conversation. It was fun.
No, glad you liked it. And obviously, always appreciate your time and appreciate your coaching too.
I know. Likewise. Good luck with your meeting tonight.
Thank you. Appreciate it.
Thank you.
And Shelby, so once you exit out, you might need just to leave your browser up on this for like 2 minutes to finish it recording, basically, for it to upload.
Yep. I can
just so you know.
I won't close out of it.
Okay, cool. Thank you.
All right. Bye.
Yeah, cool.
See ya.
Yeah.